My friends, when we talk about artificial intelligence in the gaming industry, it's kind of a controversial topic because plenty of people typically state things like, oh, generative AI is ruining games because it's making them diluted and lazy, and we want authenticity with it. But lots of people typically still buy games that have generative AI in it anyway because people just want to play a fun game. So if you're on the train of, I don't care, just make the damn game however you want, well, you don't have to hold your breath any longer because the CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson, has come out with the claim that, well, EA clearly uses artificial intelligence and we plan on doing so to pump games out more so that way you can keep playing them and spend more money on our programs. How do they do this, you ask yourself? Well, why don't we look at some of the things that they said based off of the few articles that have come out regarding this, with all the quotes that he has regarding artificial intelligence and how that affects the industry. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you already pretty much know this about me, but if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I ask that you do because it does help grow the community. But to give you a little bit of background, I work in the field of artificial intelligence. I do some work that helps improve the things that I do within my industry to those who end up getting the product that I help generate. And since I have that background, I feel like I have a bit of a say on what happens or the ethics of using artificial intelligence in your industry to help develop things. I'm not an expert by any means, but being a part of the grunt force for artificial intelligence, I feel like I can throw my 2 cents in there as being a part of this. That and my love for video games. So I guess that's two things into one. So what do we have to talk about in terms of AI today? Well, we're going to be looking towards TechRaptor's article because the PC Gamer does do a pretty good job at highlighting some of the stuff that goes on in the interview that he had. TechRaptor has a lot more quotes and some of the stuff that PC Gamer pretty much took from here. So we're going to look a little bit into what Mr. Wilson had to say about artificial intelligence and then dig a little bit in terms of the ethics behind this. So why don't we go right in and see what he has to say? So I think the first thing that we have to talk about is what are his claims. So according to what TechRaptor has in terms of some of his quotes, he claims that 60% of the development in the game of whatever EA is trying to produce can positively be impacted by generative AI, and that 30% of the workforce can be sped up using it. So can this be done? Of course it can be done. AI in the current state that it is right now can be used to help speed things up. Now, 60% is a really high claim. Like, what exactly is within that 60% that they are using for generative AI to help speed up the process? Well, he makes some claims that in this article, one thing is, it's kind of weird, but then in PC Gamer, there's another claim in there that he states that I didn't find here, so why don't we just talk about right now? Wilson states that in FIFA 2023, they had 12 different running cycles for the player, running cycles being like the way how they run, the animations behind how they run in the game. And in their newest version, EA Sports FC 2024, because they lost the rights to the name, has 1,200 different ways on how the person can run. Okay, cool, whatever, I guess. AI is being used at its best. You got tired of running 12 different ways? Well, why don't you add a couple zeros to the end of that and let's just make this game even more fun. Now you can run like 1,200 different ways. Isn't that what you want, guys, as gamers? Isn't that what you guys want? But it doesn't just end there, because he also makes the claim, at least what PC Gamer was able to pull, that AI can help speed up the workflow in the sense of building a stadium for a sports game, where normally it would take 6 months, but with generative AI, we can reduce it down to 6 weeks, and there's probably a future where it can be boosted even further to 6 days. So what does it mean for the industry? Not just for EA, but gaming in general. Well, now that there are tools that exist that can help develop new things within the industry, of course it's going to help speed up the way how games are created. You can generate objects using artificial intelligence and then have somebody clean the rough edges so that way it looks professionally made. Now, what's going to happen once this thing becomes an industry standard, if it hasn't already, and then people start getting the boot, which is very clear in terms of what's been happening as of recent across all industries, with EA being no exception, having laid off 670 people, mostly due to bloat, as people would argue, but I do have a very strong feeling that generative AI may have a play in this too. So now that AI is taking over and essentially taking people's jobs, the AI is taking our jobs, like what's going to happen to all those people that end up leaving, right? There's a new problem that's starting to come up where people who are losing their jobs to generative AI, things that don't require food, that don't require time off, that don't require pay or raises or get sick. What's going to happen to all those people that had those jobs in the first place, that specialized in that work, and now can't use those skills that they attributed to their industry, because all the other companies are soon going to follow in EA's footsteps if they haven't already? Unfortunately, that's a question that we can't answer at the moment, but what we can do is answer how are we going to get more content in the first place? Because if we're going to be laying off people to create new openings for artificial intelligence to generate these things and improve our games and make them go even faster, since that is also the claim that's been made here, where everybody who hasn't been fired yet that's using artificial intelligence is able to get the fun out faster and get it to market faster, which is basically saying, yeah, let's just throw out this game into the fire and make money off of it, because we're going to make money off of it anyways, like they've been doing with Madden for the past 7-10 years, with it being just the same game over and over again. Just throw it out there into the fire. We're going to make money off of it. The game works. I mean, it might not look the best, but the game works, We can make these improvements by giving the AI tool to the players. Let the players make their own content. Let the players make content that can go out to the masses. Essentially, now you're cutting out the middleman. You are no longer having a team that's dedicated to producing more content, because now you're giving it to the hands of the players. But guess what? The players aren't going to get crap for it. They're going to, if anything, maybe get pennies, because it's all going to go under EA's banner, at least in the sense of EA. So they're just getting free labor, at least with the claim that they're going to give this AI tool to the players so that way they can make their own content and give it out to the masses. So EA just wins all around if this comes into fruition, because I feel like that's a very future case. And of course, as players create new content, it's able to make it more diverse and more immense, as what the CEO claims, because as a game becomes more immense, then it brings in more people, and of course, by bringing in more people, you can have more people spend more money on your games, because, microtransactions are what's important in the gaming industry, at least for big gaming. With the claim of speeding up the process of making video games, with the claim of more than 50% of the development process can be done with generative AI, with kicking out the middleman and putting in your own customers being the developers by giving them the tools they need to create the content for the game. I mean, this just sounds like a recipe for disaster. But at the end of the day, there's going to be plenty of people who will probably agree with this notion, or probably just don't care, and then they'll just ride the wave and buy the game and hope somebody creates something cool for, I don't know, Madden. They make a new stadium that hasn't been made before, or they create a new team where it's just nothing but Taylor Swift's for the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, So it doesn't matter. People aren't going to care in the industry, and they know that. They know that so long as they put out a game that at least functions well and looks half as decent, they're going to be able to make money off of it. The fact that Madden has not evolved at all, to the point where there are even times where they've been caught with their pants down showing assets from previous years. Do you think that they're going to stop? Of course not. And AI is just going to make their job even easier. In a way, all it's doing is allowing them to use the recycled content that they already have and make it faster. with less people at the helm, so that way those that are in upper management who have kept their jobs can make more money off of these products, because they know that the people that are buying these games are also going to be the ones who are going to be spending money on microtransactions. And if you give them the ability to make more content, they can potentially drive more people in that will eventually spend more money. Is the concept of artificial intelligence as a tool in this light a good concept? I think, yes, AI as a tool is very helpful, and I could only imagine that it is very helpful in the gaming industry. I use AI to help develop AI in a lot of ways, so I can't say that it is a bad thing, but when put in the wrong hands, it can be a tool that could cause internal destruction. And unfortunately, part of the plight of using artificial intelligence in the industry is that when people start getting way too in over their heads about what it is capable of doing, others start losing their jobs. And then those people unfortunately suffer because they have a certain skill set that's getting replaced in an industry that they work for, that they cannot get rehired into, because more than likely the other companies are going to be starting to put those metrics into their system. So they get thrown to the wayside. And it's unfortunately a new problem that's been a problem that people don't focus on because we're too worried about Mexicans taking our jobs. And AI is the true threat to taking away our jobs. Even though, yes, I work in the industry, so you can blame me for whatever you want, but trust me, I'm not making the stuff that people are worried about. But I am still worried about it for myself, too. Because if you work in the technological field, especially when it comes to programming, your days are numbered. I'm sorry to tell you. Even for myself, I know for myself. That's why I work in artificial intelligence, because I know that if anything, if I have to be the type of person that's going to be making the program to take away my job, then at least I'm the one that's doing it to myself. And unfortunately, in the gaming industry, a lot of people are getting replaced. A lot of people are getting laid off because they're starting to throw in metrics of putting in things that can automate the work for them. And those who are incapable of adapting, unfortunately, suffer. And I hope that everybody who's lost their jobs in this light that we're going through right now recovers and profits in whatever venture that they choose to go through. But AI in gaming, it can be a good thing. But despite the fact that it's good for the consumer, you have to realize that those who are behind the game, they're the ones that are truly suffering. They already suffer through enough with low pay and being slaved away. And though it might be a reprieve to be laid off so that way they don't have to do that work anymore, it's still unfortunate the fact that their only salvation is to not get paid anymore and not have to work. It sucks. It really does. And I wish there was something better. But so long as companies view AI in this light and are going to be using them to their advantage, what can you do? Comment down below. What do you think about EA and the claims that their CEO is making about artificial intelligence being used in the gaming industry? If you like this kind of content, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm out of here. I'll catch all of y'all later. Peace.